Bitcoin is the modern version of gold.
Bitcoin is incredibly popular.
People have made fortunes out of Bitcoin.
Bitcoin went through the roof.
You think this is a currency?
Hold on a minute. If you know everything about blockchain and the industries that it's implemented in, which means you do realize that it's not merely Bitcoin and crypto, then this show is not for you. So thank you. Have a good day. However, if you do not know everything about blockchain and those industries, then put your headphones on. My name is Maurik, and by no means am I an expert in either blockchain or those industries, but I do interview people who are in this show. Welcome to What the Fork.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna jump quite quickly into this because I only have Ricardo here for a few minutes. This was the only time that we could find, but I'm very happy to have him on the show because I know that, and I even told you this if you remember in the FIB meetup from the Fork, you have a very good understanding of both the technical side of blockchain, how the technology works and everything, but also its implementation in a business and commercial sense. So just a minute of who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Ricardo and I'm currently head of partnerships and blockchain advisory at ScanTrust. Essentially my main responsibilities there are to drive the blockchain projects of ScanTrust in the supply chain space and to build relevant partnerships to scale up our blockchain business. Previously, I worked at BigchainDB, a Berlin-based blockchain startup where I was leading the business development part.
Yeah. Okay, so what does ScanTrust, the company that you work for, do essentially?
So ScanTrust has developed the world's first copy-proof and secure QR code. So it's a QR code that you cannot falsify. If you take a picture of it and you print it, it gets recognized as a fake. Originally the company started out to solve the problem of counterfeit, so to fight fake products.
Yeah.
But then it evolved into much more. So right now we wouldn't say ScanTrust is only like an anti-counterfeit company,
yeah,
but it's a company that helps you to securely digitize your physical products and give each of these products a digital unique identity thanks to that secure QR code, which allows you to give each product a history and a memory. And this is especially relevant now in the times when consumers are becoming more aware of their choices and want to know more about the products that they are buying.
So to put it in a simple sentence, using your technology, if I have 10,000 packages of I don't know, peanuts, and each of the packages can have that QR code, and every single one of them has its unique identity.
Exactly.
Which cannot be modified in any way, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you can serialize a product to the individual unit, so you can give each individual unit a unique identity that is linked to this secure QR code.
And where does blockchain fit into this?
So what is interesting about ScanTrust is that it didn't start out as a blockchain company originally. So it started out 4 years ago as a non-blockchain company that was solving the problem of authenticating products and checking that they are real. And then it evolved into a smart packaging company which allows you to track where your products are being scanned, whether they are scanned in the locations they are supposed to be scanned, etc. But then what ScanTrust learned is that in every blockchain project that you do, it's critical to have a secure, unique identifier. And pretty quickly ScanTrust realized that the technology that they had makes a lot of sense in the blockchain space as well.
Okay.
Because yes, blockchain gives you immutability. So if you record information in a blockchain, it cannot be changed anymore. So if you want to log where a product is coming from, you can add the information about the history of this product in a blockchain, and then a consumer can access it and he can be sure that it hasn't been modified. But the problem you have today is that you still need a secure link between the physical and the digital world, because you need to be able to uniquely identify this product. Even if you have an immutable history in a blockchain that you can trust, if you link this history to a normal QR code, someone can take that package, take a picture of that QR code, reprint it, and put it on another product, and then this product will have the same accessibility to this unique immutable history as the other product. And that's how you can still game the blockchain by essentially messing around with the interface between the digital and the physical world.
So in other words, the technology that you have can be linked with blockchain in a way to secure the information that's being put into blockchain in the first place, to make sure that that information is the correct one, and then blockchain takes care of the part that information, it cannot be changed and it will remain there.
Exactly. So one thing that I would add, which is quite important, is yes, blockchain ensures that once the information is there, it can be modified. But what the QR code does, our technologies, it ensures that once you have linked this information in a blockchain to a physical product, that this link cannot be broken or tampered with anymore. That's the problem that I would say ScanTrust solves with its technology in the blockchain context. So it doesn't increase the validity of information. This is very important to stress, right? So just by putting a secure QR code there doesn't mean that the information that is in the blockchain becomes more valid. Because if you put wrong information in a blockchain and you link it to a secure QR code, you have immutable wrong information linked to a secure QR code. It doesn't become more valid because of that. But if you have correct information in a blockchain, it's secured, it cannot be modified anymore, and you link that correct information to a secure QR code, which ensures that if you scan it, it's really the product that you want to buy, that you are buying is like a real product, and that the information that you access is really coming from a blockchain and is the information that this QR code is supposed to contain.
Okay. And for me as a consumer, this would be important. Why?
Well, I think we have to dissect that a little bit also into different sectors. Overall, there's a general overarching trend that consumers care more about where their products are coming from. And there is an extremely high level of distrust in brands today. So a lot of consumers have lost trust in the brands that they've been buying in the food space. And they don't trust that these products have been sourced sustainably, under good conditions, or that they are maybe not contaminated. So the level of trust has significantly decreased in the last couple of years due to a lot of scandals that we have seen. So it's becoming more and more important that as a food and beverage brand, you provide trustworthy information to your customers, and you find a way to reconnect with them and to restore this trust that they have lost. And while not everybody is caring about that today, there is a clear trend in the market that consumers want more trusted information on where their products are coming from. And that's our hypothesis why this is relevant to a consumer. If you go out on the street and you ask people what dimensions do you consider if you buy meat or fresh products. For meat, for example, it's quite critical for a lot of people, like the carbon footprint that they have. They don't want to buy meat that is coming from far away because they think it's bad for the environment, and they don't want to buy meat with antibiotics and so on and so forth. And what we see today is that even if the package says it's coming from Argentina and it doesn't have any antibiotics or whatever, a lot of consumers just don't believe that anymore.
It's basically just printed there, and that's kind of the mindset that consumers today have.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's. I think to add to that a little bit, and please tell me if you agree, but today's generation, growing up in this digital world that it is now, this generation is much more marketing savvy, right? It's they understand marketing intentions better, and therefore it's also transparency is arguably a very good way to communicate with them and to give them the way to trust you in a way, rather than showing a simple ad or printing something on the product. And would you say that this type of this sort of system could add to that? Well, that's essentially what ScanTrust is all about.
Yeah, exactly. I think, there's two aspects here that I think are important. On the one hand, I agree with the statement that you made that consumers are marketing savvy and they care about transparency. And this is a clear trend that we see in the market, that consumers don't just simply believe everything that a marketing message conveys to them. They want ways to verify that this is actually true, or they just simply don't believe it. So brands are trying to position themselves as more transparent brands that give authentic information to their consumers, and this is a way to engage with the consumers. And that's the second part that is important. Transparency and giving more information about the product is a way how you can engage more with the consumer, which is something brands are looking for. How can I have a two-way communication with my consumer so that he doesn't just buy the product, consume it and leave, but maybe there's another message that I want to give him to make him more loyal to my brand or to get more trust from this consumer.
Yeah. Okay, could you give us an example or a case where you put this technology to use?
Sure. So I think I presented one. Do you mean the ScanTrust technology in general, or ScanTrust and blockchain combined for traceability in essence?
Let's talk about
because that makes quite a
traceability.
big difference.
Yeah.
So if you look at traceability right now, there's a couple of examples that we're looking at. One I presented just recently is in the coffee space.
Yeah.
So we worked with a brand that makes very expensive and organically sourced coffee, and they essentially want to tell their consumers, hey, look, you're buying very expensive coffee, and we're making a big promise that this is coming from cooperatives in South America, and it's really organic. And that's why you're paying a lot more money for this coffee than you're paying for normal coffee. Okay. So to ensure that you really believe and trust that this is true, we use a ScanTrust copy-proof secure QR code, and we add the history to this coffee, which shows you that your coffee is really coming from a certified farm in Peru, and it has been roasted on date XYZ, so that you as a consumer, if you buy that expensive coffee, you can verify and check that this promise that you are receiving is actually true. That's like one example that I could give. But we see similar things around meat traceability. So one other example we have is with pork meat. So in a specific country in Southeast Asia, consumers care a lot about the fact that the pork meat they consume is coming from clean farms. And that's why when they buy a product that contains pork meat, they want to be able to be sure that this meat is coming from a certified farm where the pig grew up under certain conditions that they care about. And that's like two examples that I could give you.
Okay.
What is important to stress here also, just for transparency and comprehensive reasons of the listeners, is that blockchain does not solve all the problems magically. If you take the coffee example, it's still critical that the information you source from the coffee farms is authentic before you put it into a blockchain. So if a farmer reports fake information and somehow games the certification company, there's still a certain chance that he ends up being marked as a certified farm, and the consumer accesses this information from a blockchain and believes that it's a certified farm, but maybe it's not, because the farm itself cheated. Yeah. So there are still some challenges in these use cases, because the entry point from the real world to the blockchain is still a challenge. But as such, what ScanTrust plus blockchain provides you is a basic technology infrastructure that can help you to access this information in a trustable way.
Yeah. This also links back. Well, this is actually the point that we talked about earlier, where you said that blockchain does not validate the information that goes in there.
And this is really important. So, a blockchain validates transactions. So if you add a transaction to a blockchain and you sign it with your digital signature, the fact that you entered this transaction and what you entered cannot be modified anymore. And if someone tries to fake your signature and pretend that they are entering information on your behalf, that's something that a blockchain can detect.
Yeah.
What the blockchain cannot detect is if the content that you have added is correct or not. It can verify the signature, but not the content. And this is something very important. So you need to ensure that you have a layer of security before the information enters into a blockchain to ensure that it's authentic and it's good quality information.
Would you say that perhaps a positive point to that would be that the content that goes into blockchain cannot be validated. However, the person or the entity who entered that content inside the blockchain can be held accountable.
Exactly. So that's what I usually say when people say, but the blockchain can be still gamed. Yes, it can. But would you, like, I usually make this analogy. I say, if I lie to someone and the only person that hears this lie is my counterparty, and then I never see this person again, maybe you might be inclined to lie and get away with it. But if you lie to someone and your lie is broadcasted to 100 other parties that can see this information and it's there forever, chances that someone might detect that lie at some point and hold you accountable for it are a lot higher. And this should reduce your inclination and incentive to lie in the first place.
Yeah.
So the fact that your information is visible and recorded should reduce the incentive to put fake information there. Of course, it's not enough, but there's a lot of companies that are working on solutions to bridge this gap. I think we're...
Yeah, well, we are out of time. Ricardo, this was a quick one, but thank you very much for coming here, being a guest.
Yeah, thanks a lot. It was a pleasure to be here.